All right, we're good. Yay! It transitioned really well. I'm gonna get one of those Steam Stream Decks, not a Steam Deck, to push buttons.
So it worked?
Yeah,
Are we on?
Okay,
Did it work
we
right?
did
Are we
it.
on right now?
I think
Yeah.
so. I don't know. Someone
Awesome.
press refresh.
Yeah, if we over there,
Over there.
I can see it on my phone.
Yay!
Hello, coffee beans, and welcome to our coffee house, Esports and Coffee. We are happy that you stopped by, so grab a mug of your favorite beverage, grab a comfy chair, and stay a while, alright? I am one of your head baristas, AJ, and assisting me with brewing our coffee tonight, I have Jackie Lamb, Sari Keitlin, and Daniel Sarikis. Today's topic for our coffee side chat today is how can I get more involved? What are options? What options are there for me to be more involved in esports and education? Before we get sipping on our topic for tonight, we're gonna pass the mug over to Danielle to take care of some quick housekeeping.
Ayo. Remember that if you're not in the Discord, you should be. I'm randomly getting a call right now. No one ever calls me. We're talking women's basketball, prepping for job interviews, drooling over Annabelle's recipes, well, things that she cooks, this week. So, and chatting, I'm gonna laugh about this next part because even Anna's gonna laugh. Chatting all things anime and so much more. I don't watch anime.
Mhm.
But good on you all. So one good thing Wednesday, which has coined OGTW. Yes?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I had to
Mm-hmm.
follow the bouncy.
OGTW.
Yeah. Yeah, Jacob, let's go. And tip yourself Thursday per Friday. That's a new thing. It's always a party in our Discord, so join the Discord. The link's in our chat. Most of you probably in there because you're really cool already.
But if you're not in there, you should be.
Yes.
Then you could be cool.
Awesome. Well, today's topic, as we know, is getting involved. Um, whether you're starting your career, kind of pivoting in your career journey, or looking to grow in your current role, we hear all the time that getting involved is a great way to gain experience and to get a foot into the industry and to get a foot in the door. And you got to get involved and you got to get involved. And what does that mean? And I think it means different things in different phases on wherever you are. I think a lot of folks that may have started their careers in a different industry and are looking to get into esports, getting involved means something different in that regards. To those that are in college that are graduating, that they want to figure that out, I think it looks like something different there. And what we really wanted to talk through today is what does it mean to get involved? How can you get involved? And how do you kind of protect yourself from getting involved but not getting too involved? That all of a sudden, as you're trying to get your foot in the door, you're getting exhausted before you even get started, which is a thing that happens often. And so we've got a couple of different kind of ways and ideas that we have to chat through today. But again, as everybody's watching at home, if you see something in the chat or if you have ideas or opportunities or questions in the chat, we'd love to hear from you. We keep this pretty casual, and we just want to be able to kind of talk through things that are really going to help everybody in this phase of what it is that they can do. And really kind of what we're starting with is what exactly is getting involved? What does that mean? Spoiler alert, it's a lot more than writing hot takes on Twitter.
It is?
No, it's
It
not.
really is. I know.
Right. That's
it.
that's all esports
And
is.
that's it. End of show. Well, I hope you guys had a great time with us
Perfect.
today.
We're done.
Receiving and
That's
who just subscribed to.
Is Antor.
The king of
Um,
hot takes and sales.
Well, now we need to give him a crown.
And so we have a bunch of kind of different ways. What does it mean to get involved? So opinions are lovely, and sharing those opinions is even lovelier. But being able to evolve your opinions, learn from each other, and let people in networks that you might want to continue to learn to grow within or be associated with know where you're coming from is even better. And the great way to really start with that is engaging in different various discords that they have and that they offer. And we've talked about it quite a bit in here of like it can be intimidating. You log on to the Wiggy Discord, let's say Women in Games International, and everybody's talking and they're sharing things and you're not really sure where you fit in and you're just sort of watching. And I always try to say or start with, it's never a bad thing to lurk. Feel free to lurk until you're comfortable. That's what the beauty of Discord is you can kind of watch everybody sort of engage, stand in the corner virtually, see what's going on until you can really find your in. But getting engaged in Discord, responding to people, learning about opportunities is really the way that you can start kind of getting involved. A lot of servers are offering like topic of the week or topic of the day or question of the week or question of the day. A lot of people are using these platforms to ask questions, to generate interest, to try to learn and grow themselves. And engaging in that conversation and engaging in that topic and that discussion is going to be a lot healthier than speaking to a social media wall, and it allows you to evolve your perspective a bit over time. I'm in a ton of Discords. I don't know about you guys. Do you have any favorite Discord servers that you're in besides Esports and Coffee, which is clearly the best Discord server? What are your second favorite and third favorite esports servers that you might be in?
Oh man.
Well, we like Pokemon. That server is the greatest.
It's another good server on the rise.
Yeah, it's not an esports server.
Yeah, it's not so much esports and gaming related, but I think that
community.
there's a couple of ones. Yeah, it's definitely more community based, but I think a couple of the other ones that have gotten a lot of good traction. I know if you're a NACE member, that tool is really valuable, especially if you are a first-time director. That's where when I was a first-time director, that's where I got a lot of my kind of like, where do I go to do just like my basic job of like getting students involved in competition. So I think that's a really good server to find kind of that really base level of knowledge. I think other servers, kind of like the voice server in Esports EDU, those are some of those, especially the Esports EDU server. It's a massive server, especially because it also not only does it have collegiate, but it also has high school and middle school as well. So you kind of run the entire gambit of the education space. So that one can be, for me, it is a little intimidating just because there is so much going on. But I do feel like it's well ran. I feel like there's a lot of good open dialogue in there as well. So those I like to lurk in. Like we said, you kind of pick and choose where you like to have your active conversations, because I kind of just like open my Discord on the side here just to see how many
That's
that
what I
you're
did
in.
on my phone.
And there's no and like when I was a coach and a director, I was in far more, right? You were in far more Discord servers. Since I've moved to the faculty side of things, I was able to the weight
The
of leaving
clean.
so many Discord. Oh my god, it was gorgeous. But I'm still in quite a few. But there's no way that you can keep up with conversations in every single server. So I think it's a good idea because you can also categorize your servers as well into like those nifty little folders. So what I've done with my Discord servers, I've put like all of like my lurking servers into one folder, all of the Discord servers that I actively participate in conversation and have gone into their own folder as well. So I think it's a really good idea to kind of pick and choose where you lurk, where you're active, and that can change too depending on where you're at within your career as well. So always like feel free to those Discord servers and where you focus your time, feel free to like be flexible and fluid with that as well.
And some states have, sorry, Jackie, some states have um, servers based on the people in it. So I got to give a shout out to Michigan, of course. That's a pretty active server. And I think it's just kind of migrated to not just Michigan people because some of us have left. So check around. I don't know if Minnesota does. Did in Kansas City, did they have Missouri have a server based on esports?
Yeah, we have a
If they
Midwest
did,
one.
I wasn't invited.
Yep. We have a whole like Midwest one. It's not just Minnesota, or it's kind of like goes all the way down to Texas and then over on the West Coast.
Texas is not Midwest, though.
I didn't invite people.
That's okay. They matter too.
I
I
think the
know
mid
Antor. I'm in that one too.
in this
Florida.
context, I think Midwest means middle and west.
Yeah.
So Texas in the
Yeah.
middle and West in the west.
Yeah. I think it's important too, like for me, like still relevant to the job. Like I'm in like and I would added to this one is the ISEA, and that I was added to that when NACE was kind of trying to work with him. I don't know whatever happened to that when I was on the board. But I got a lot more active in that after and I started in this role. And that one was super intimidating for me to talk to. But slowly I started asking questions and talking to people. And Danielle from Texas is in there, and I really like her. I talked to her a lot about my position. But I think it's important to realize, like, AJ, what you said is you transition jobs. So you left Discords. You, like, got rid of a bunch. I'm not in any, like, the collegiate Discords anymore. I'm in still a couple that I wanted to stay in and lurk a little bit because I think it's okay to stay, and my job pertains to it a little bit. I'm still trying to stay here. I'm like that sticky glue. I'm just never gonna leave.
Do you have like a moment or a thing where you're like, I found this because I was in a Discord server, or like a oh, I got this, I met this person, or I got this job, or I did this thing because I found it in this server, or anything like that?
I'll shout out Antor's server. I know that he's in here, so kudos to you, sir. The job postings, I know that most of the time they're very specific to collegiate opportunities, but a lot of the surfers that I have stuck around in for, like, at this point in time, a lot of them I've almost exclusively honed in on the job ones, so I can hand them over to my students who are graduating, since I'm literally like teaching the last class and the second to last class at Full Sail before they graduate. A lot of the, and this is not like a bad thing. This is really the part that I enjoy about my job now, is now that they graduate, I'm like the last face that they see. So I'm very relevant to their job search, and they always come to me and ask me questions, references, resumes, things like that. So I've been trying to help them a lot in finding jobs after they graduate. So I've gotten a lot of, not to say that they've like landed any of those jobs yet, but a lot of these Discord servers, if they're posting internships or job opportunities, anything like that, I've been able to relay that back to my students who are soon to graduate in the next month or two, or have recently graduated, for them to look into, and them to consider. So, and it's really funny because if anybody at Full Sail is like looking at my computer, they're like, wow, she's like really looking for jobs right now. And I don't want them to... It's like, what, is there something we should know? But like, it's like really like all for the students, right?
Look at her search history. Man, it's all
Search history is
where to find
alarming.
Pokemon and where to find jobs. It's all the things.
She's alarming.
That's amazing.
I know a lot of people use Antor's server as a resource for that too, because I've had other people be like, "Did you see it in Antor's server?" I'm like, I am not a good friend because I was not in his. I am in his server, but I'm really bad about checking all these Discords because I in fact have ADD. So like I can't keep track of everything. So I have to leave alerts on for certain channels, like our board of directors channel. I have to keep that on, and Esports and Coffee, I think that it's really cool. There's a very eclectic group that I'm seeing find it, and I know we established it, but thinking about like 3 years ago when I started, it would have been really great to have this going then, to find a group of people. I think it would have minimized like the search for like-minded humans. So not to give us a whole shout out or kudos, like Jackie and I always talk about how the first time we met was because of I think it was, I can't even remember now. NACE, a
Yeah,
NACE
it was
meeting.
a nice like a webinar.
Yeah. And I was like, oh, a girl.
That's what it was. We were
It's literally,
yeah. Yeah.
we have
There's
no
like
other
5 of
reason.
us that showed up to it, so yeah.
Yeah.
I
I
will
was
say
like,
I think the voice Discord server does a really good job at like promoting conversation too. Like if you go in there, it's a lot, it's very engaging. Like there'll be, float topics of conversation, people are asking questions in there, and it's very in-depth discussion on what does anybody think about X, Y, and Z, or does anybody have thoughts on X, Y, and Z. So it's a really good place to like kind of hunker down and just sort of, I don't know, either do a deep dive, offer your opinion, or just kind of read in topics that are really pertinent to the time. So I will give them a plug too.
Mhm.
oh yeah.
Um,
Yeah,
yeah,
K Rugs. You can just DM Karen. She'll have a great amazing insight too. Like if you really need a pep talk or to be talked off the ledge, they're equal. Both sides of the spectrum there. Also, you can just complain to her too, because so all of it, the full gambit with K Rugs.
Karen. Oh,
Yes, amazing insight. Lies.
well, another thing, so Discords, we've got a good plug too in the chat, I think is important from Jorge, talking about the MSI student server. It has been really great with like, if you are a student, just getting opportunities, even things like access to things for your student clubs or opportunities for internship or just, random um, volunteer things for events and activations is great. And also things like both Queer Women of Esports and Women in Games International will offer things in their discords when they have opportunities that are associated with events. So, like if Queer Women of Esports has a booth that's they're installing at PAX and they are looking for people that want to participate in the booth that might be able to get a free ticket to PAX. They'll kind of post in there and get those opportunities. So those are good as well. Not necessarily as robust in conversation, but robust in opportunity, I think is good and important. Um, the other thing I think that kind of lends itself to in the discords is all of the virtual seminars and Twitch streams and everything like what you're on right now. Yes. Um, are also a really great way to just start engaging and figuring things out. And a lot of that has to do with get engaged in chat. Um, that's an area where watching is great, learning is super great, obviously, and kind of taking that content and context away from what it is that you're participating in and watching, but engaging is how you get involved. When you see somebody's name or they're talking about a specific aspect in their chat, connecting with those people, figuring out if they're leading in a direction that you want to lead into, or continuing that conversation maybe to Discord or offline, I think is a really great way. I would always recommend as attending virtual seminars or any sort of virtual talks is prepare a question, prepare 3 questions, whether you have the opportunity to or feel comfortable asking them or don't feel comfortable asking them, that's okay, but prepare them anyway. Because if it seems like you're getting to the point where you really want to get involved and you really want to connect, you want to be able to have something prepared just in case you're not feeling it based on the content that's sort of happening or kind of coming about. So, like, if I'm going to watch a virtual panel, let's say, I'm going to kind of read a little bit about what the panel is supposed to be about and have a question in my back pocket just in case it gets to a point where I feel like I could really connect with somebody if I was able to ask a question right now. Me personally, I'm also a lot more comfortable asking a question in chat than in person. So I have never in the history of my life asked a question in person in any sort of panel or event or anything. Or a class, probably when someone says, does anybody have any questions? I don't think I've ever had one or raised my hand or anything of the sort. But in chat, I'll ask questions. I'm just more comfortable doing that. And so if you're like me, it's a really great way to start. Just sort of being able to use chat and words and kind of not have to grab a microphone, I guess.
I think it's
Have it.
really important to attend virtual webinars. So I attended one last week. Well, I didn't read it properly. Like it was on LinkedIn. It said sign up for this, and it was during an open time. It was for K through 12 education. I'm like, okay, cool. They had it on LinkedIn. It was free. I had time. I signed up. It was for Missouri schools. But the CEO of Skillshot was hosting it, and it was for Missouri schools only. I deleted something. That was funny. Sorry. And they they let me stay just to hear it out. I couldn't use any of the information, and I wasn't supposed to share it. I didn't have to sign like an NDA or anything, but they let me stay and just chat with them. And through that, I introduced who I was, and I expressed, that at the end of my contract, I no longer have a position at the end of the year, and I ended up giving him my resume, and that's a networking connection I made with the CEO of Skillshot, and that's a potential job for down the line that, maybe that I'll get. That's just a random chance encounter that because I attended a webinar that I found on LinkedIn and I attended. I think that that's important. If you have time to do those, do it. And then supporting your friends as well. CDW Jen and Danielle did one last week as well. I popped in and said hi for like 15 minutes and supported them through the work that they were doing. And of course, they always have like really good webinars.
They do.
I do want to applaud Jackie, because I feel like Jackie is the best at finding virtual summits and conferences and webinars. Like, I don't like, what are some of your like, how do you find them? What are your tips and tricks? Like, how do you do that? How do you do this?
I get some through emails. I sign up through newsletters. So CDW, Fetch has newsletters. ESI has newsletters. And then LinkedIn is a really big one, and Twitter. So I'll spend a couple hours a week just looking through that. Specifically, like I'll just scroll specifically looking for conferences. And I got behind in our Discord, but I'm trying to get back to it, to updating our conferences tabs so that other people know how much they are and what to attend if they're free, where they are, and how people can go to them.
I love that. This is a offshoot story, but it's really funny. Early 2020 was when we first started doing like virtual. Like before that, everything was in person, right? There wasn't really a lot of virtual panels, and so events were fewer and far between. And I had my first virtual panel, and it was like, or my first one that was not a huge event, where it was like a one-off. It was for a class, and I got a link, and so I'm telling Jacob, okay, I have this virtual panel. I'm super nervous. He's like, I'm going to come in there and I will hype you up, and that way you won't be nervous. Thank you so much, Jacob. That is so nice. Here's all the information. And I shared the information with him. The only problem is that it was only the panelists were in the link that I gave, and then it was presenting out, and everybody else was watching via a different link. So the panel was the panelists and Jacob. I'm like, what? Who is Jacob and why is he here? I was like, oh, that's my friend.
Nice job, Sari. Starting out great. I hope that hyped you up, though. Come on.
That's how the vibe manager started.
He's there the whole time. He's a really good friend. Like, oh, that's not how this works.
Technology
You're
is
supposed
hard.
to have it differently. I didn't realize that at the time. Anyway,
It would have been
Jackie when it comes to virtual events, not me.
I was half expecting him to send it all out to a bunch of people. It would have been funny too if all those people jumped in.
Yeah, it's like my mom, my
Everybody,
sister.
come on! I should have had to.
The whole crew's there. Sorry, I'm like the Mark Wahlberg of esports. I have an entourage. It's fine. Yeah.
He just
Everything's
stopped there.
fine.
It was really nice and supportive. So thank you, Jacob. See, the support matters. Yeah, okay. Well, that's virtual. Sorry, I really derailed that.
No, you're
When,
fine.
when in doubt, invite your friends to be on the panel with you,
Uh-huh.
even when they weren't invited.
Yeah.
Mhm. It's important. Uh, I mean, in addition to discords and attending virtual seminars, whether you're invited or not, there's also the aspect of just volunteering as a whole. AJ, you want to kick this off? It looks like you're kicking this one off.
Ooh, it's me. I'm gonna try to not butcher it like I butchered my own intro that I wrote for myself. Thank you very much. Yeah, so volunteering, right? It's something that, especially like when we are in high school, when we're in college, it's something that we're like have some volunteer hours on the resume. It looks really great to employers. It gets you an opportunity for some hands-on learning, especially if it's like within that field that you're looking to pursue as a career after you graduate. Um, so how do you find those opportunities? What's like the fine line between like, oh, I'm volunteering my time for an organization, for an event? Like, what's the fine line between like I'm volunteering my time versus this is like selling my soul type of thing? So um there's a couple of things that we have seen that are positive volunteer opportunities that we wanted to share. So, um, if you are, especially like in the collegiate area, whether you're a student or staff member, there's always opportunities for kind of helping the K through 12 middle school youth leagues that are around you within your area, right? Um, Most of the time, if they have esports programs, they are, usually have a maybe a staff member or a person in charge from the staff side of things. But if you are somebody that's working at a college or a student at a college and you're just like, hey, if there's something I can do to help, let me know. Any type of coaching or volunteering that you can do in that capacity, I think would go a long way. Other opportunities, different events, DreamHack, we'll shout out Boost on the Beach, any local lands that are within your opportunity as well. Um, what we had to do for our Full Sail degree program within the game business degree, since we have it a degree that is available online as well, what we had to do was look at the entire United States and each of the different course directors. We all covered different states. So if you saw my tweet a couple of weeks ago asking for like really weird, random, specific states and like what volunteer opportunities are available, that's what I was trying to do. I was trying to kind of like find specific opportunities like for our students for volunteer opportunities like any dream hacks, conventions, conferences, festivals, things like that. So any other volunteer opportunities that y'all know about that are within your area, areas that you've been before? What are great? What are some things to look out for that are like jeepers, don't do that? Um, what other advice do y'all have?
I say reach out to directors in the area. That's very intimidating, but and directors that are listening, sometimes you don't know that you can have volunteers. I was in a weird spot at my former institution when I first started that student affairs didn't wasn't allowed to have volunteers, but athletics was allowed to have volunteers. Um, so sometimes finding avenues to be able to get that and giving people that experience. I know I had somebody from like a tier 2 team saying, well, I volunteered all through tier 2. So the resources aren't always there for some programs. And now at a different program, I have more opportunities that are paid, which is really nice because I think that everybody deserves to be paid. But sometimes they're just not there. I think in time it will be. But definitely reach out. There's plenty. Everyone wants help. Mostly everyone. I think Full Sail's got it under control, but mostly everybody wants help for their live events, right? Um, so volunteer with if you see something, just show up and say, "Hey, can I walk around and ask people if they need water, or I don't know, fan them
Yeah,
off
Can I
because it's too
can I put
hot.
up chairs?
Yeah.
yeah, I think Chris made a really good
Mm-hmm.
point in chat that I think is super important, and it's in that aspect of like being specific. Um, if when it comes to something like supporting at the K-12 space, which I highly recommend as a really great way to get involved and volunteer at the K-12 space, because you at least always know your volunteer efforts are going to a good cause. I also want to echo something that I heard at a traditional sports conference that I do think relates to it, but it was for women in sports, and advice given there was get involved as officials, officiate these events, because that's what girls need to see more women doing. And in this aspect, I think it's the same thing, especially as like we're trying to help, continue to evolve the diversity that we see in our space. It starts at that younger age. And so getting involved, even if you're like, if you've never coached before, but there are 11-year-olds playing a game that you've played a ton, you can help them, you can coach them, you can guide them, you can lead them. And so it's approaching those situations by saying, I see that you're doing an event that features Smash, Fortnite, and Minecraft. I've got a ton of experience in Bed Wars, and I got a bit of experience in Fortnite, and I'd love to be able to help in any way that I can. Letting people know what that looks like, or when you have, if you don't have any of that experience, to say, I don't have any experience in those games, but I can do registration, I can check people in, I can help set up chairs and PCs, but approach people with what you think you can offer, in addition to finding open volunteer opportunities. So a lot of these will have a form that you can look for, like DreamHack, I know, has a form that's posted in our esports and coffee server. So if you're not in our Discord server, you should be.
Oh wait, here.
But a lot of organizations like that will have large like
No.
forms that you can fill out to figure out what roles might be available or what you might want to do. That's a really good place to start testing around what you think you want to do, and what different types of roles that you might enjoy. But I love the thing that Chris put out there of just being able to be specific. And if it means you need to watch a bit before you can figure out what that is, I think there's plenty of places that you can do that.
Cool.
I'll say too, I'll add, in regards to like talent, I think we're touching a little bit on like the fine line between volunteering and getting taken advantage of. And unfortunately, I think that a lot of these roles tend to be that. TOs can get a bit taken advantage of, which I know is tough. The other thing that gets a little bit of that is the talent positions. So say you're a caster, you're a host, or you're trying to look into getting more involved in those areas. You walking that line and finding that fine line between, I am looking to beef up my casting portfolio and this is a good opportunity, or oh my God, this is 11 straight hours of casting without bathroom or food breaks, and I'm not going to get paid for it. And even though it might be exposure, that's not a good opportunity. Kind of balancing those is an interesting one. Um, and so if that's the path that you're on, I think you just need to be careful with those and make sure you know what it is that you're looking for.
You should have them give you a contract, and for that, you should watch our last episode with Tom Screech about contracts.
And where can they
Full circle moment.
where's a good place for them to find that last episode? There's like multiple places they can find it, right?
I don't think Twitch saves them for us anymore.
There's
I
You
one
can
really
find them
great
on
place that they
YouTube
Yeah, you
find
can
it,
find them on
right?
YouTube.
and our
Mhm.
VOD, so you should follow our YouTube channel. And you can join the Discord for the link. And Adam just joined the Discord, so it's gonna get a little bit hot takey in there now. Which why weren't you in there before, man? I'm gonna call you out on stream.
Oh, Alyssa put another really great thing in chat, which I think is good too, where it says, she said, don't work for free, but you can get paid in cash, experience, exposure, building network connections, etc. Just make sure you're getting something out of it, getting something out of your volunteer time and something out of your contribution. And you'll know what is valuable to you in that regards.
I always try to automatically make sure that if I can't pay somebody, I make sure we're not overworking them. Do blocks of time so they get a long break, and then ask them what their time they want to spend. Like, what do you feel comfortable volunteering your time? Versus me saying, "Hey, I need you for 12 hours." They say they only need me for 2. They only want to be on for 2. Fine, that's great. I am happy to have you. I will still feed you. And I think that it kind of made me think that I also want to try to give them like a little not thank you package. Like maybe give them a swag and a
Swag,
sticker.
yeah.
Yeah, because I mean, we know we have some programs have a bunch of stuff lying around that you're never going to use, whether it's last year's, 2 years ago. They'll still love it.
Yeah, always try to ask if you're looking to volunteer. Always try to ask what to expect as much as you can up front, especially if it's going to be like a one-time event at the end of the year, or if it's going to be a hey, I'd love to shoutcast all of your matches for the regular season. Try to get as much, if you can't go the contract route to be paid and it is going to be solely volunteer, try to get as much information as you can up front and in writing. So, having a like if the conversation happens over the phone, be sure to follow up in an email. Hey, want to have a recap with what we talked about over the phone or over Discord. Bullet point everything out, all of the deliverables, and be like, this is what I heard. Want to make sure we're all good to go and we're all in agreement here, just to kind of CYA both parties on either side to make sure that you're getting what you want out of it and you're not, like we've been saying, not selling your soul at the end of the day.
Yeah. True.
Okay.
Okay, mentorships, Jackie?
Yeah. Mentorships is I'm huge on mentorships. I've done a lot over the last couple years, and I think if you want to get involved, I think that's one of like the biggest things that you can do to get involved in anything. Some of them that I'd like to give a really big shout out that have helped me, and you can be a mentee or a mentor, and you can go either way. Like you can go back to be a mentee after you've been a mentor. I think it's always good to improve. But Queer Women Esports, they have run a really good mentorship program. I actually just stepped down from being a mentor for them, and I had to apologize to my mentee. I just wasn't there mentally, and I felt really bad for her. They had to find a replacement for me, but that's one of the things you just have to realize when you can't keep doing something, and it's okay to do that, to refocus and realign yourself. But Wiggy has several mentorship programs. They have Get in the Game, where they literally take you across the world, and then their mentorship program. I just saw this one on Twitter, I think today. I tagged it on my X. It's called Limit Break Mentorship. I don't even know if it's anything to do with esports, but it was for women, and it sounded really cool. And I was going to look into it more. I just haven't. Sarah and I are both in WISE, which is Women in Sports and Entertainment. They have national mentorship programs. They have national speed mentoring, both for your state, and I think if you have more than one in your state, but then nationally as well. I've done a couple speed mentoring ones. But then also, if you want to get involved, be a mentor or ask someone to be a mentor. I know I've spoken to a couple people privately behind doors to be my personal mentor. And if you're looking for someone to be your mentor, just get to know them and then just straight up ask and be like, hey, is it okay if we have like a monthly chat just to go over how my career is going or what my next step is, just so you can progress together. I think that's really good. But again, balancing your time, making the most of the experience. What you want to really look for when establishing a mentorship program, you want to look what is in a mentor, what you're looking for in a mentee, and then be prepared as well. And then making sure you continue the conversation. This is something that I always try and keep the door open for all my mentees. I was like, just because the mentorship stops, that doesn't mean you have to stop talking to me. My discords are always open. You can always, everyone knows my discords are open. I respond to them when I shouldn't. Just chat people up.
I love it. I think that Jack, you do a really good job at like fostering and making the most out of those mentorship opportunities. And I've taken a lot of that from you. Like I've participated in a lot of mentorship opportunities, but I don't know that I had always taken away as much from them until I just sort of reshifted my focus. And that's what it is too. And I think what Jackie said is a really good point of don't be afraid to step away. Don't feel like you always have to be involved. If you're having a season where it's not your time or you're not mentally there, then step away and try again soon. I also was a mentor for Queer Women of Esports quite a few times and stepped down just due to time and bandwidth. Same with Wiggy. I've participated in their mentorship program. I'm not currently. I probably will again. But it's okay to follow those paths and follow your kind of like what that sync is for you. I'll kind of go back to what I think Chris said earlier, which is kind of translates here as well, is if you're pursuing a mentor or participating in a mentorship program, make sure you are prepared. Make sure you know what you're looking for and you're asking for. A lot of established industry experts are happy to give you their time and are happy to spend that time with you. Make sure you know what you're trying to get out of them for that time. Because oftentimes people that are at that caliber are like, paid for their time and they're giving it to you to try to help you and support you. And you want to make sure that you're making the most of that and getting, have that the most of that connection. And it's that there are really cool mentorship programs that bring a bunch of people together. That's a lot of what we've been highlighting. But there's also the individual side of things where you can look at even just the place that you work. And if you see somebody that works where you work, that you really like what they're doing and you just want to go up and see if they can kind of help guide you and lead you, that's okay also. And then finally, I think is don't be afraid to leave a mentorship situation if it's not right for you, whether as a mentee or as a mentor. If the connection just isn't there, you're both going to be better off finding a better connection or a different connection somewhere else. Um, and I think that's important too. But I think what I've learned a lot and what I think I know Jackie does super well is that if you're going to invest your time in these programs, make sure you're getting something out of it. This is your time, and your time is incredibly valuable. And so if you're not invested and you're going through the motions, then you're not going to get the getting involved benefits that you would get from something like that if you're just not necessarily there, if you're just not necessarily connected, or if you're not researched and invested and dedicated.
Yeah, I recently had somebody reach out and said, "Could you be my mentor?" And I was like, "Oh, okay." So that was fun. And it's interesting because like no one has ever like asked that of me in a formal capacity. And I think it's really funny because I'm still in this place where having just I still say it's a new job, but even still kind of sitting in my new job, there's still like two or three faculty members that I'm reaching out to now and that I like consider my mentors. So it's one of those things where like you can be both at the same time, and it doesn't mean because there was this the first initial thought was when somebody said, "Oh, can you like help mentor me at this point in my life?" And I was like, "Oh, whoa, not like my first initial thought was, whoa, not qualified." Um, because there's still so many things that like I'm still trying to learn about my new job and my new situation, um but you can be both things like Jackie was saying, like you're able to be a mentor for somebody but also be a mentee in another capacity. So it's all about kind of wearing those different hats, and that imposter syndrome, right? Like that's what was talking to me, right? Like that initial like, oh no, you're not prepared, like you're not ready to like help someone navigate their life. Like that was that initial imposter syndrome that popped up there, right? So it's one of those things too where I think just being prepared is what's helping me the most right now with that with the person that asked me to be their mentor right now. So every time that I have a conversation with them, I'm going into it very intentional, very focused, talking about job aspirations, job interviews. So it is something that if you want to do, whether within a program or whether kind of like within a kind of a, like a one-on-one capacity, um, it is something that you're going to want to make sure that like if you say yes, I will be your mentor or what have you, it's going to want to be something that you want to pay attention to and you want to put some of your time to. um there were some people in my past that maybe I reached out to like looking for a mentor and they're like, yeah, sure. And then conversation tried to happen and then it didn't happen, and like Sari was saying, it was this weird, like it just didn't seem to jive, but like nobody said the thing that should have been said, where it's like clearly you don't have time or I don't have time or our schedules aren't linking up, and it just like the elephant in the room just wasn't said out loud, and it should have just been like, I'm gonna go like put my time and energy somewhere else. Like it's also okay for those things to happen too. So I think being prepared is underlined, highlighted, bolded. Being prepared and being intentional, I think, is really important for mentorship.
Committed.
Yeah. Because it is a commitment. And any of these getting involved opportunities is a commitment. You're you're doing that. You don't volunteer for an event and then not show back up. Just like you don't start mentoring and then not invest yourself, not commit to it. Um, the whole concept of this is a commitment. Um, and that commitment extends, into formalized groups that you might be part of as well. Any leagues that your teams are currently playing in, that you're currently playing in, any, whether it's weekly lands, whether it's groups within the collegiate space or high school space, whether it's, structured championship series with the pro space. There's committees that are formed and leadership groups and opportunities to get involved. And when you get to the point of comfort, and I know it can take some time, that's another really great way to continue to get involved, to meet more people, to find more opportunities, and to really expand that network. Um, we're all, well, I guess now two of us are a part of NACE. We've all been a part of NACE membership or leadership before. But we, figuring out how that structure works and where I can get involved there is an interesting aspect. But there's a bunch of different types of committees, some that serve your needs better and some that don't. Voice also has volunteer opportunities. College e-news, they're constantly hiring for a ton of different opportunities in leadership groups and project support and help that are ways to get involved. And the thing I'll add to that as well is you can get involved and then you can also end your time of being committed and being involved. I recently had an experience. I'm part of that group WISE that we were talking about before. And I served on two committees because I'm a Capricorn and that's what we do. And so I was on the mentorship committee and the events committee. And I really loved the mentorship committee. I've been on it for quite some time. And the events committee, the leader, I'm sorry for the sound. Bodhi left his iPad here and it keeps ringing, and I'm sorry. So the events committee was okay, but the person that led the events committee sent a lot of language that was like, I need more people to show up. Why are I need more from you? If you're not going to be able to be there, I want to make sure this is a priority to you. I'd like to grow too, and I have aspirations of being here. And if more people are not going to pick up their weight, then they need to, this is a commitment and this is what you need to do. And she very well was not talking to me. The email went to a group of people, and I understand that. However, I also know myself, and I'm going to think it was. I'm just going to. I'm going to now constantly wonder, am I doing enough for her? Am I giving enough of my time? Is she going to send one of those emails? And is she talking about me? And I recognize that she isn't, but I know myself enough to know that that's not a healthy environment for me to be in. And so I left the events committee, and I left it in a very honest way. I said, I totally respect and appreciate and understand that you're probably not talking to me in these messages, but I know myself enough to know that I'm not going to be able to be in a healthy environment if this is how this works. So I can't wait to see you at the events. Had a great time being a part of it, but this is not the committee for me. And I stick with my mentorship committee, and I have the a great time, and it's wonderful. And I still am great friends with everybody that was in the events committee, and they are really enjoying themselves. And they probably are not crazy and don't read things like that and think that they're about them. But unfortunately, I'm crazy and I think it's about me. And so I know that about myself, and I'm just going to remove myself from this situation. So finding committees to be involved with, awesome. And finding times when you're like, you know what, this is just a little bit too much. Things are really shifting for me here, and I'm going to step down for a bit. And you don't no call, no show, and you don't ghost, and you politely and professionally step down from any of these opportunities that you have.
I think if you want to be a part of a group, you should reach out to them and don't just say, I want to be a part of your group. I think it just goes back to Chris's message. Just the hype of the day. Write a thoughtful message on how you would like to contribute and what you think you can expand on, and ask to set up a time to chat. And I think that's one of the best ways that you can get your foot in the door and how you can get more involved within that group. I know I've done it. I'm pretty sure we've all done it. And I think are they going to say no? Okay, move on. and then just keep going down your ladder.
I love that.
So I guess it's my turn. Expanding your network to outside of esports, getting involved. This is funny too. Join a book club. Jackie loves books, so she's great. Talk to her. No, I'm not going to ask that question. Explore something non-gaming related. Explore your city and get to know your community by attending other events. Gaining valuable networking partners that aren't in the esports can be huge, and you never know who you will meet when you might want to invest, want to work with you. Wait, who you will meet that might want to invest, want to work with you.
I wrote that.
I had to read that just to make sure I didn't mess that up.
Yeah.
Because I worked on proofreading.
No, I listen, we know that I don't like to read out loud. It's a problem. Anyway, my real random question when I said that, Jackie, is do you find audiobooks, do they count as reading?
Yeah.
Okay, thanks. Anyway,
it's a different category though. Like it goes in, okay. It's a completely different, like how many audiobooks did you listen to versus how many did you read? It's a different.
Okay. That's what I paused and was like, I can't ask this right now. Finish my question. That's how my brain works. So like, just so you know, it's really a battle all the time.
I like it.
It's funny that I have to. Sorry to cut you off.
No, I like any insight I have into Danielle's brain. Every time we get to spend a moment there, it's always an adventure.
No, it's a wild place. I too think everybody is. When messages like that go out, it's definitely me. I'm the problem always. I'm always going to be the problem. I have that thought. If I know I'm not giving my all, then I think I am letting every single person down. So that's another thing. Sarah has told me multiple times that that's not the thing, but I will. It's whatever. She can tell me that, but I still am like, okay, sure, Sarah, you just are a fan. Whatever. That's pretty much what's happening in my brain. But it's funny that you gave me this question because my entire circle was uprooted, right? So like I don't have any friends in this area close. Like obviously you guys are an hour and a half away, but like it's quite challenging, especially with this day and age. So I joined like a Facebook don't judge me for Facebook, Sari. But a
I use
women in
Facebook.
women. She says it's a northern thing.
Oh.
A women in Brevard County group, um, just to find friends, because you don't realize how crappy it is when you're like, hey, want to go get a drink or want to go have lunch, and like nobody's there. So yeah, so it's hard. So keep don't. I don't just love Facebook.
I will say I'm in a Facebook group where I have met people, and it's called D3. It's the Disney Day Drinking Club, and it's people that like to day drink at Disney World. And
That's quite the
Oh,
club.
I have met people in
oh,
that group, including a girl named Sari.
No way.
I swear, who also likes drinking at Disney World.
sick.
Mhm,
It has to be Sarah Squared. Did you go out for an event, Sarah Squared at Disney?
mhm.
That's
Yeah,
awesome.
it's not that I love Facebook. It's just that I only use it for things like that. I don't know that where would all their groups be? There's not going to be what are they going to put a group on Instagram? There's no groups, but like we just post photos. Like I want to meet you because the way that'd be very
Maybe
superficial.
Reddit.
Oh no, nah, I'm good. What kind of people are you meeting there?
Are there
Trolls.
any
Yeah, I
like
mean, fair.
intramural, like any intramural teams or like community events around
You should
like your
look for
town?
Pokemon Go.
Yeah.
Pokemon Go Melbourne Discord servers or something like that. You
This,
might have a community ambassador. You
this,
Mhm.
might.
this turned into how to make the extroverted person have friends.
I was gonna say, I tell you what, like I totally can relate. Like I moved to Kansas City, and like my closest friend or relative was my cousin who lived in Chicago. Like I moved to Kansas City not knowing anybody that was out there, and like I moved to Kansas City in 2018, and I had like 1 year before COVID. I had like a year and some change before COVID hit. So you spend like that first year when you're launching an esports program, and you work way too many hours that I don't want to say out loud, and like you don't have time to like go out and like find friends and meet friends, and then like you get past that year mark and you're like, okay, like maybe I can spend some time looking for friends. Wait, I have to stay inside now? How um cool. So like I moved back to Florida, and like my whole like 5 years in Kansas City, like I have like my my Casey Game On group, right? Like I have that group that I made some friends in. But like outside of that and like people that I worked with, like that's it. Like there's no other like friends that like I made along the way, and I lived there for like 5 years. Like it's difficult. So it's like like I'm totally vibing with what you're saying. Like I was there, I
I
missed
guess
it.
so. Like I wrote this as not necessarily like making new friends because I like my friends are like I'm good with them. It like I noticed at conventions because it goes back to going to other like conferences and conventions. Like Clerky started this whole like rock climbing like group, and at each like time more people just join it. I know that Anter has gone multiple times. Alyssa and the Shenandoah crew have joined. And then there's karaoke nights, like just getting, and you notice that we have outside lives besides esports and getting to know our colleagues and peers and people singing the Backstreet Boys at a bar.
Other First of all, it was Sean Burney that did that, and I just want to make sure that lives down in infamy. But I think the cool thing
I have the
too about
video.
the
Yeah, me too.
outside groups or whatever, and like what has really been helpful for me is like in the situation that I'm in, which I think everybody's is different, but in the world that we work in, we're not often one in a huge department where there's like a ton of coworkers and we're doing a bunch of things. For me, I've been at Full Sail for 18 or going on 18 years, and I have never not been the director. So 100% of people I know at work in some way, shape, or form report to me. And it's weird. And at that same point, I don't really have anybody above me. And I started at Full Sail oh man, I'm gonna give all my secrets, but I started at Full Sail when I was 26, 25, 26. And I I've had to learn everything from this, finding these groups and finding these networks. And when I join groups like Wise, I'm the only esports person in our Wise. We do a lot of things of everyone's like, esports is what? And it's fine because the cool thing that I do have in that network is a bunch of other women that are, hey, can you look? A girl from Marriott, can you look this email over for me? Yes, I'd happy to look it over for you. Oh, well, I'm dealing, for me, like I'll explain the situation. I have a new executive that has a new assistant and we're not really clicking. Oh, what's happening? Oh, it's this. Oh, it's that. And I have somebody that I can even just bounce regular work things off of or regular networking things off of. It could be to that point of I've been trying to volunteer at DreamHack and I am not getting a call back. And it's like, oh, I didn't get one either. And then I got this email address and it helped me here and I had this conversation. And so it's those external groups or those external focuses, whether it's in your Pokemon Go leader group thing. I have a lot to learn about Pokemon Go apparently. But
We can
everybody's got
teach you.
some way to help you, whether they're in your industry or not. All of those connections are going to leverage and propel you in your growth in some facet, whether it's your growth in getting comfortable talking to people, whether it's your growth in giving advice and guidance and support, or whether it's your growth in, finding new avenues within your career. And for those of us that work in esports, I think it is very important to note that you should absolutely have professional networks outside of the world of esports, especially outside of the world of collegiate esports, because this place can be a lot. And if you don't have somewhere else to go to kind of rejuvenate and to get your growth from, you're only going to grow within your small sector that you are. Your growth is multifaceted. Your growth is 360, and you should be facilitating that growth, whether it's through rock climbing, singing, Backstreet Boys at karaoke, book clubs, meeting people, whatever that is. Those are all part of your growth.
And it also helps to have a focus that's not revolved exclusively around gaming and esports. Like, take a step back.
Harry Potter.
It's good.
Go
It's good
touch
for
grass.
you.
Go
Take a
touch
step
grass.
back. It's good for you. Take the step back. Okay? Okay.
Me, it's go to the ocean.
Oh, you
Get those beach pictures.
Oh,
Yeah, I know. I'm going to post on Instagram, and I said to my friend I was going to share this photo. And she was like, why am I going to be in it? I was like, I can only share so many ocean photos. Like, at some point, it's still the ocean.
It's a different type of gaming.
is it the same ocean though? Like when you're taking the photo, is it the same water that you took a photo of yesterday?
It's never the
it's-
same, AJ. It's never the same.
Different water.
Different water, so different ocean.
Mhm.
Look at me, brilliant! I could be a person that is
poet.
in the field of talking about Earth stuff. I think that's a scientist. Okay, so
Or STEM.
Next up, our show on how AJ transformed from esports to being a scientist. And
Of-
simply
of
one.
talked
outside
about
things.
Earth stuff.
Earth stuff and outside things.
Mm-hmm. Earth stuff and outside things. Hello, my name is AJ. I am the Senior Director of Earth Stuff and Outside Things, and I'm just here to talk to you today about being a scientist.
Different ocean waters.
It's
Oh,
called being a
gosh.
scientist, right?
I would buy that
Being a scientist.
textbook.
Question mark.
Jeez.
All
I'd
right.
buy that textbook.
Well, off
We
topic.
digress.
Okay. All right. So, that we are running a little bit over, but that's great because that's a little bit par for the course for us. But that will kind of like man, I didn't get the outro right. I didn't get the intro right. That's also on brand. But our next stream is going to be April on, April. Yep. It's going to be on a date in April.
17th?
And that sounds really good. I like that date. Sounds
Doing
good.
great.
April 17th, and it is going to be our coffee house chat. So that's going to be our big chats where we invite a couple of our friends from the industry, and our topic is going to be on job hopping. It's a very fun topic. So come and join us for that, because it's going to be fun, and we're going to talk about things that we did, because some people have been at their place for 18 years. Some people have been at their job for, I don't know, maybe 3 or 4 months at this point in time. Some 2. So we're gonna talk about all that.
I got 6
really
months on
fun
mine.
stuff with some of our close friends. So yeah, join us for that. In the meantime, join the Discord server for all of our fun and shenanigans along the way. And we got the Gremlin Coffee Corner gonna be launching as well too. And words are not good for the end of today. So let's in that. Are we all out of coffee or whatever beverage you're drinking tonight?
I
Yeah.
think we are, AJ. I think
We
it's
are.
fine. Mhm.
Excellent. We will see y'all in 2 weeks. Have a lovely
Bye.
evening, everybody.